Welcome, dreamer. I'm Balrog Reads, and tonight I want to read you a sleep story, a bedtime story. This is from a book called Journeys Through Bookland. Tonight's story is The Fairies of the Caldon Low by Mary Howitt. Let's begin. And where have you been, my Mary? And where have you been from me? I've been to the top of the Caldon Low, the midsummer night to see. And what did you see, my Mary? All up on the Caldon Low, I saw the Bly sunshine come down, and I saw the merry winds blow. And what did you hear, my Mary? All up on the Caldon Hill, I heard the drops of water made, and I heard the corn ears fill. Oh, tell me, all, my Mary, all that you know, for you must have seen the fairies last night on the Caldon Low. Then take me on your knee, mother, and listen, mother of mine. 100 fairies danced last night, and the harpers, they were 9. And merry was the glee of the harp strings, and their dancing feet so small. But, oh, the sound of their talking was merrier far than all. Here's a picture of them. And what were the words, my Mary? What did you hear them say? I'll tell you all, my mother, but let me have my way. And some they played with the water, and it rolled down the hill. And this, they said, shall speedily turn the poor old miller's mill. For there has been no water ever since the 1st of May, and a busy man shall the miller be by the dawning of the day. Oh, the miller, how he will laugh when he sees the mill dam rise. The jolly old miller, how he will laugh till the tears fill both his eyes. And some they seized the little winds that sounded over the hill, and each put a horn into his mouth and blew so sharp and shrill. And there, said they, the merry winds go away from every horn, and those shall clear the mildew dank from the blind old widow's corn. Oh, the poor blind widow, though she has been blind so long, she'll be merry enough when the mildew's gone, and the corn stands stiff and strong. And some they brought the brown linseed and flung it down from the low. And this, said they, by the sunrise in the weaver's croft shall grow. Oh, the poor lame weaver, how will he laugh outright when he sees his dwindling flax seed all full of flowers by night. And then up spoke a brownie with a long beard on his chin. I have spun up all the tow, said he, and I want some more to spin. I've spun a piece of hempen cloth, and I want to spin another. A little sheet for Mary's bed, and an apron for her mother. And with that I could not help but laugh, and I laughed out loud and free. And then on top of the cold and low, there was no one left but me. And all on top of the cold and low, the mists were cold and gray, and nothing I saw but the mossy stones that round about me lay. But as I came down from the hilltop, I heard afar below how busy the jolly miller was, and how merry the wheel did go. And I peered into the widow's field, and sure enough was seen the yellow ears of the mildewed corn, all standing stiff and green. And down by the weaver's croft I stole, to see if the flax were high, but I saw the weaver at his gate with the good news in his eye. Now, this is all that I heard, mother, and all that I did see. So, prithee, make my bed, mother, for I am tired as I can be. This has been The Fairies of the Cowden Low by Mary Howitt in a book called Journeys Through Bookland, Volume 2. Copyright. Wait for it. It's really old. Copyright. Oh, we're not there yet. Hang on. Let's see. It's like 1900. Like 1909. Holy moly. That was a good one. You know, I think I much want to read another one. That was The Cold and Low. Now we shall read the next one in the book. This one is called Who Stole the Bird's Nest by L. Maria Child. To whit, to whit, to whee, will you listen to me? Who stole 4 eggs I laid, and the nice nest I made? Not I, said the cow. Moo! Such a thing I'd never do. I gave you a wisp of hay, but didn't take your nest away. Not I, said the cow, moo. Such a thing I'd never do. To whit, to whit, to whee, will you listen to me? Who stole 4 eggs I laid, and the nice nest I made? Bobolink, bobolink, now what do you think? Who stole a nest away from the plum tree today? Not I, said the dog. Bow wow. I wouldn't be so mean anyhow. I gave heirs to the nest to make, but the nest I did not take. Not I, said the dog. Bow wow. I'm not so mean anyhow. To whit, to whee, will you listen to me? Who stole 4 eggs I laid, and the nice nest I made? Bobolink, bobolink, now what do you think? Who stole a nest away from the plum tree today? Cuckoo, cuckoo, let me speak a word too. Who stole that pretty nest from little Yellow Breast? Not I, said the sheep. Oh no, I wouldn't treat a poor bird so. I gave wool the nest to line, but the nest was none of mine. Bah, bah, said the sheep. Oh no, I wouldn't treat the poor bird so. To whit, to whee, will you listen to me? Who stole 4 eggs I laid, and the nice nest I made? Bobolink, bobolink, now what do you think? Who stole the nest away from the plum tree today? Cuckoo, cuckoo, let me speak a word too. Who stole that pretty nest from the little Yellow Breast? Caw, caw, cried the crow. I would like to know that thief took away a bird's nest today. Cluck, cluck, said the hen. Don't ask me again why I haven't a chick would do such a trick. We all gave her a feather, and she wove them together. I'd sworn to intrude on her and her brood. Cluck, cluck, I said to the hen, don't ask me again. Chirr-whir, all the birds make a stir. Let us find out his name, and all cry for shame. I would not rob a bird, said the merry green. I think I never heard of anything so mean. It is very cruel, too, said little Alice Neal. I wonder if he knew how sad the bird would feel. A little boy hung down his head and went and hid behind the bed, for he stole that pretty nest from poor little Yellow Breast, and he felt so full of shame. He didn't like to tell his name. And here's a picture of it. There's the dude who done it. I know that probably wasn't the most clever of a rap that you may have heard, but it says at the end here, in this little dialogue, what part do the birds take? What part do the animals take? I do believe that this book may have been like a literature textbook or something. Really neat. The first snowfall wall. guys, let's read that one. Is it long? Let's see. One. Oh, this just a few pages. This one is called The First Snowfall by James Russell Lowell. The snow has begun in the gloaming, and busily all the night had been heaping field and highway with the silence deep and white. I like this picture. It's like an old grandpa with a kid telling a story. Every pine and fir and hemlock wore ermine too dear for an earl, and the poorest twig of the elm tree was ridged inch deep with pearl. From sheds new roofed with Carrara came Kent Clear's muffled cow crow. The stiff rails were softened to swan's down, and still fluttered down the snow. I stood and watched by the window the noiseless work of the sky, and the sudden flurries of snowbirds like brown leaves whirling by. I thought of a mound in sweet Auburn, where the little headstone stood, how the flakes were folding it gently, as did robins, the babes in the wood. Up spoke our own little Mabel, saying, "Father, who makes it snow?" And I told the good All-Father, who cares for us here below. Again I looked at the snowfall, and I thought of the laden sky that arched o'er our first great sorrow, and when that mound was heaped so high, I remembered the gradual patience that fell from that cloud like snow, flake by flake, healing and hiding the scar of our deep plunged woe. And again to the child I whispered, "The snow that husheth all, darling, the merciful Father alone can make it fall." Then with eyes that saw not, I kissed her, and she, kissing back, could not know that my kiss was given to her sister, folded close under deepening snow. This was The First Snowfall by James Russell Lowell. And there's a footnote here that says, Lowell refers here to a daughter, Blanche, who died shortly before the birth of his daughter Rosa. So when he says here, he kissed the girl, it was his sister. This is another story about loss of a loved one in the family. What a beautiful poem. The peace and sort of a comforting that comes with something like this. I wonder if we have time for another story, or maybe we'll leave this for another day. The story of Esther. I wonder if that's Esther like from the Bible. Who knows? There's another one here. What else was after this one? The Darning Needle. from Hans Christian Andersen. Oh, this may be one for its own story. We have time for one more, don't we? Let's do it. The Darning Needle by Hans Christian Andersen. There was once a darning needle who taught herself so fine she imagined she was an embroidering needle. Take care, and mind you hold me tight, she said to the fingers which took her out. Don't let me fall. If I fall on the ground, I shall certainly never be found again, for I am so fine. That's as it may be, said the fingers, and they grasped her round the body. See, I'm coming with the train, said the Darning Needle, and she drew a long thread after her, but there was no knot in the thread. The fingers pointed the needle just at the cook's slipper, in which the upper leather had burst, and was to be sewn together. That's vulgar work, said the Darning Needle. I shall never get through. I'm breaking. And she really broke. Did I not say so? Said the Darning Needle. I'm too fine, too thin of a needle. You can't force these. Look, if you're working with leather, you need a thicker needle, one that's more sturdy. Now it's quite useless, said the fingers, but they were obliged to hold her fast all the same, for the cook dropped some sealing wax upon the needle and pinned her kerchief about her neck with it. So now I'm a breastpin, said the Darning Needle. I knew very well that I should come to honor. When one is something, one comes to something. And she laughed quietly to herself, and one can never see when a Darning Needle laughs. Where she sat, as proud as if she were in a state coach, and looked all about her. May I be permitted to ask if you are gold? She inquired of the pin, her neighbor. You have a very pretty appearance and a peculiar head, but it is only little. You must take pains to grow, for it's not everyone that has been sealing wax dropped upon him. And the Darning Needle drew herself up so proudly that she fell out of the kerchief right into the sink which the cook was rinsing out. Now we're going on a journey, said the Darning Needle, but if I only don't get lost. But she really was lost. I'm too fine for this world, she observed, as she lay in the gutter. But I know who I am, and there's always something in that. So the Darning Needle kept her proud behavior and did not lose her good humor, and things of many kinds swam over her, chips and straws and pieces of old newspapers. Only look how they sail, said the Darning Needle. They don't know what is under them. I'm here. I remain firmly here. See, there goes a chip, thinking of nothing in the world but himself, but a chip. There's a straw going by now. How it turns. How he twirls about. Don't think only of yourself. You might easily run up against a stone. There swims a bit of newspaper. What's written upon it has long been forgotten, and yet it gives itself airs. I sit quietly and patiently here. I know who I am, and I shall remain what I am. One day something lay close beside her that glittered splendidly. Then the darning needle believed it was a diamond. But it was a bit of broken bottle. And because it shone, the darning needle spoke to it, introduced herself as a breastpin. "I suppose you are a diamond," she observed. "Why, yes, something of that kind." And then each believed the other to be a very valuable thing, and they had been speaking about the world and how very conceited it was. "I have been in a lady's box," said the darning needle, "and this lady was a cook. She had 5 fingers on each hand, and I never saw anything so conceited as those 5 fingers. And yet they were only there that they might take me out of the box and put me back into it." "Were they of good birth?" asked the bit of bottle. "No, indeed," replied the darning needle, "but very, very haughty. They were 5 brothers, all of the finger family. They kept very proudly together, though they were different lengths. The outermost, the thumbling, was short and fat. He walked out in front of the ranks and had only one joint on his back and could only make a single bow. But, he said, if he were hacked off from a man, that man was useless for the service in war. Dainty Mouth, the second finger, thrust himself into Sweat and Sour, pointed to the sun and moon, and gave the impression when they wrote. Longman, the third, looked at all the others over his shoulder. Goldborder, the fourth, went about with a golden belt round his waist, and a little playman did nothing at all and was proud of it. There was nothing but bragging among them, and therefore I went away. And now we sit here and glitter, said the bit of bottle. And that moment more water came into the gutter, and that it overflowed, and the bit of bottle was carried away. So he is disposed of, observed the darning needle. I remain here. I am too fine, but that's my pride, and my pride is honorable. And proudly she sat there, and had many great thoughts. I could almost believe I had been born of a sunbeam. I'm so fine. It really appears to me as if the sunbeams were always seeking for me under the water. Ah, I'm so fine that my mother cannot find me. And if my old eye, which broke off, I think I should cry. But no, I should not do that. It's not genteel to cry. One day, the couple of street boys lay grubbing in the gutter, where they sometimes found old nails, farthings, similar treasures. It was dirty work, but they took great delight in it. "Oh," cried one, who had pricked himself with the darning needle. There's a fellow for you. I'm not a fellow, I'm a young lady, said the darning needle. But nobody listened to her. The sealing wax had come off, and she had turned black, but black makes one look slender, and she thought herself finer even than before. Here comes an eggshell sailing along, said the boys, and they stuck the darning needle fast into the eggshell. White walls, and black myself. That looks well, remarked the darning needle. Now one can see me. I only hope I shall not be sick. I only hope that I shall not be seasick. But she was not seasick at all. One is proof against seasickness. If one has a steel stomach and does not forget that one is a little more than an ordinary person, the finer one is, the more one can bear. Crack went the eggshell, for a hand barrow went over her. How it crushes me, said the darning needle. I'm getting seasick now. I'm quite sick. But she was not really sick. Though the hand barrow had run her over, she lay there at full length, and there she may lie. This was The Darning Needle by Hans Christian Andersen. I guess the moral of that story is, be humble. You are not that big of a deal. Or, listen, you're a big deal just the way you are. You don't have to try to be fancier than you are. You are yourself. Or at least that's what I got from it. Another one of the morals of the story is just be kind to one another, you know? Anyway, thanks for joining me on this one.